If you are planning to come to Mexico, just prepare your mind psychologically, physically, spiritually, because you're going to be hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. How are you all doing today? I hope you guys are doing great. If this is your first time here, hi, my name is Jenny Oyenye and you are welcome to the family. Please consider subscribing if you like my videos, and to my Jenny subscribers, thank you all so much for always coming back. I really appreciate your support. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of the cons of living in Mexico, some of the things that I personally don't like about living in Mexico. In some of my previous videos, I've shared with you guys some of the things that I like about living in Mexico, some of the benefits of living and working in Mexico. So if you're interested in this particular video, just sit back, relax, and let's dive right into it. So one of the things I don't like about living in Mexico is the distance from Mexico to Nigeria. Traveling from Mexico to Nigeria is extremely far. It's just like traveling from the USA or from Canada to Nigeria. It is extremely far. And the worst part is that you cannot even find a one-way flight from Mexico to Nigeria. But even if you find a one-way flight, who would like to stay for 20-something hours, 20+ hours in an airplane? It's a whole lot of stress. Like, it's a premium stress. You're not going to enjoy your travel. It's going to be stressful for you. You're going to get tired of everything. Even though some people try it, some people have tried it, some people do it, but it is very, very stressful. I've stayed for 13 hours from Seoul to Mexico, and I hate it. I don't like it, but you don't have option, because I mean the distance from Asia to this place, it's so much. Okay, so traveling from Mexico to Nigeria is so far. And another thing is the flight ticket price is so expensive. It is so high because of the distance. It's not something that you just wake up one day and say, okay, let me just go to Nigeria. Unless you have a huge amount of money, that's the only way. That's only when you will be traveling anyhow you want. But for an average man, you need to plan yourself ahead. You need to plan a year or even 2 years before. You need to plan and save up before you can be able to travel to Nigeria, because the flight cost is so expensive. Okay, so the next thing I don't like about living in Mexico is natural disaster. In case you guys don't know, there is an earthquake in Mexico. That earthquake that we were taught in geography back in secondary school, it happens here every year in Mexico. In fact, we just had one on the 16th of September, a few weeks ago. It affected a lot of states. It shook in a lot of states, including my own state. We felt the shake here in this city. Okay, so if you are planning to come to Mexico, just prepare your mind psychologically, physically, spiritually, because you're going to be experiencing earthquake every year. And it happens every freaking year, every September. September on is always always come prepared. Okay, sometimes it happens in April or May or any month that it feels like. But you see, September on is starting. It is ruled out in Mexico that every September there will always be earthquake. So if you are coming to Mexico, just prepare your mind, adjust and readjust your mind for a earthquake. Okay, I first experienced what earthquake feels like here in Mexico, and that my first time experience, it was a horrible experience. I wasn't informed. I never had an idea. I never knew that earthquake happens here in Mexico. Okay, so yeah, just prepare your mind. Now you know. So the next thing I don't like about Mexico is unnecessary noise, sometimes from humans, sometimes from dogs, especially dogs most especially. Human noise is just maybe once in a while. Sometimes you hear someone playing a very loud music. Maybe you want to sleep, or maybe want to concentrate and do something without any distraction. You will just hear someone nearby playing one kind of loud music that you not even demand for, that you're not even enjoying. And it's also annoying, to be honest. And coming to animals, dogs especially, they make a lot of annoying noise that I don't like. They make noise, they bark anytime, any day they want, anytime. Even if they like, they will bark in the midnight. Sometimes they bark in the morning, the afternoon. Anytime they decide to bark, they will bark. And the worst part is that once one dog starts barking, the rest of the dogs around will join them. And they have a lot of Mexicans, they have a lot of pet dogs, they have a lot of dogs, street dogs and other. Any one dog that starts barking, the rest of the dogs around will join them and start barking. And they will stop whenever they want to stop. The worst part that I don't like is all these small dogs, all these Chihuahua.
Chihuahua.
Chihuahua warrior. In case you guys don't know what Chihuahua is, I'm going to attach the picture so you guys will see what this Chihuahua is.
We're tiny but mighty.
A very small dog, but the barking is so freaking annoying. And another thing I don't like about living in Mexico is that they have too much stray dogs and cats, majorly dogs. They have a lot of stray dogs on the streets of Mexico. I didn't grow up with dogs, so anytime I see dogs on the road, I always get scared because I don't know the mood the dog will be in, if the dog is sad or hungry or I don't know. So I'm always careful. Maybe if I'm walking on the road and see a stray dog, it is so scary. Apart from me, that is adult. Apart from me, that is an adult. Imagine if a small child is walking and gets attacked by the dog. It is so scary. I can't even leave my child. Maybe if she comes of age more, I can't even leave her to walk alone on the street because there are too many street dogs. You never know what will happen. So I don't like the too many street dogs on the street. And the worst part is that they feed the dogs and still leave them on the street, which I don't really fancy it. I don't like it. It is risky. It is very, very risky, especially to the kids. Because kids, they walk around the street, they move around, they can easily get attacked by the dogs, okay? And they have different species of dogs moving on the streets. I mean, it is risky. So another thing I don't like about living in Mexico is that it is boring. Generally, living abroad, life is boring. Living abroad, let me not lie, it is really boring. Everybody is busy, everybody is minding his or her business, and nobody cares, nobody sends you, you're on your own. You don't have your family here, you don't have your friends. It's so boring, to be honest. Life is really, really boring. Okay, another thing I don't like about living in Mexico is their tricky weather. Their weather is so tricky all through the year. And the part that I don't really like so much is during winter. The cold is okay. I like Mexican weather to an extent, but once it gets to winter period, it gets extremely dry, and that dryness is sickening, to be honest. The dryness, in fact, I prefer cold and moist weather than cold and dry weather. Mexico is not that extremely cold, except the northern part. It is not so cold. That is another reason a lot of people like Mexican weather. Mexico is not so cold compared to some parts of the USA or Canada. Hey, don't go there. So it is a nice weather, but the dryness in most of the states, not all the states anyway, in most of the states here, the dryness is crazy. If I am to choose, I'll choose cold and moist weather. Okay, the next thing I don't like about living in Mexico is that it is very, very hard to find everything that you need in a particular supermarket. Like, it is so hard. There are some things that you can find in Walmart that you cannot find in Chedraui, or some things that you can find in Walmart or Chedraui you cannot find in Mega Soriana or other supermarkets, and it will subject you to moving from one supermarket or from one local market to another. And there are a lot of things that you can even find in local markets that you cannot find in the supermarket. So if you are not the kind of person that likes to explore, trust me, some of the things that you're looking for will be in Mexico. You will not find them because you are just going into one particular place. But it is what it is, so we just have to deal with it. Another thing I don't like about living in Mexico is that finding a good and affordable apartment as a foreigner is very hard. It's quite challenging. You will see just an average man's house, an average man's apartment, they'll be calling price for you. It is so hard. It is so much. But I mean, we all need a roof over our heads, so you have to do it. You have to rent an apartment and tighten your seatbelt and continue hustling. So, another thing I don't like about living in Mexico is language barrier. The official national language here in Mexico is Spanish, and Spanish is everything. They speak with Spanish, they say their mass in Spanish, everything Spanish. It's just few people that you meet that speaks English or maybe understand a little bit of English, but the rest Spanish. If you want to go to school, Spanish, everything Spanish. And it is quite challenging. Before you can be able to do anything, take up a meaningful job or go to school here in Mexico, you must learn Spanish. It's just some of the schools or some of the courses that you can find in Mexico that can offer you to teach in English, but the rest is Spanish. And one thing about this language learning is that 1 minute you will feel like, oh, I can do this, let me just learn this language, I can do this thing. If I put all my mind, my interest in it, I will learn it. The next minute you will lose interest. The next minute you'll be like, I beg, let me just take this thing slowly, I cannot come and kill myself. But it happens to me like this. Sometimes I'll be like, I'll just put all my mind, okay, let me just learn all these things, let me be fluent with this thing. Like, I'll just be imagining myself speaking Spanish fluently. The next minute I'll be like, I beg, let me go and do something else and leave the Spanish behind. And sometimes there are some of the things that you would like to say, but because you don't want to stress yourself, combining, joining and disconnecting words and sentences, you will just feel like, I beg, let me just stay on my own. You will just swallow those things that you want to say without saying it. But yeah, it is like this. Living in a non-English speaking country, it has its own challenges, including raising your child in a non-English speaking country. It comes with a lot of challenges as a native English speaker. Okay, so yeah, these are all the cons of living in Mexico from my own side, from my own experience so far. So this is going to be the end of this video. If you like this video, just give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, smash the like button if you haven't done that. Just subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.